Can you tell us what your book is about?
My book is about what Aditi was talking about right now, anti-aging. Mental aging, hair aging, skin aging, spiritual aging.
That can all happen naturally and organically
aging,
without
everything,
medical
yes.
help?
Nutrition has a lot to do with it. There's so many things out there that we
What's your
don't
book called?
It's called Pause, Rewind.
You became a doctor, you finished your education, you pursued a career, and then you decided to get into modeling and acting.
You're busy leading your life. God has some other plans.
Plans for you.
That's,
True, I
that's
totally
exactly
agree
what
with you.
happened. I wanted to be a gynac. I even got admission in MD Gynac in JJ Hospital.
Oh.
A friend of mine wanted to model. And she
Right.
said, come along with
Who's
me.
this friend? Do we know?
Her name is Sonali.
Okay.
She did not pursue modeling. I landed up doing that.
When you have to deal with, say, any struggle in life, deals also with the mental bit because, see, increasingly the younger kids are very, very stressed about something or the other.
We really only live in our heads and our hearts. There's nowhere else that we actually live. And if one can learn to live in their child's head and heart, you're much more in tune, much more in sync with what's really going on and can help. I've had people who've just committed suicide, who've walked out into the balcony of their 36th floor apartment in front of their parents and walked off the edge and just killed themselves.
Do you agree that strength training is a very, very important kind of training even for women?
Well, I think strength, stamina, flexibility. These are the three aspects that one needs to look at for anti-aging. And this is an area of interest for me, which is not only anti-aging but reverse aging. So, of course, medical science is moving very fast in this direction.
How did you get interested in fitness from law?
I decided eventually to get into fitness for the simple reason that when many things came together, I ended up being my own boss, which was important to me.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to be subject to anybody else's whims and fancies. I wanted to do something which was not available.
How many pairs of sneakers do you own?
Oh my God, that's got nothing to do with health or fitness, but it has to do with happiness.
Mental health.
It has to do with mental health. Currently, I have about 160, 65 odd sneakers. Welcome to Unstoppable, powered by RiteBite Max Protein. I'm your host, Rohit Bose Roy, and today we have a very, very special episode. We're joined by two incredible women who have made a huge difference in their fields. First up, we have Nawaz Modi Singhania, a fitness expert, an entrepreneur, and author who has completely changed the fitness scene in Mumbai. She is known for her dedication to health, fitness, and most importantly, mindfulness. And alongside her, we have a very dear friend, the amazing Dr. Aditi Govitrikar, a doctor, an actor, a psychologist, a supermodel, and of course, the first Indian woman to win Mrs. World way back in 2001. Aditi shows us that you can succeed in many, many different arenas of life. So without further ado, Nawaz, Aditi, welcome to the show. I'm damn nervous. I have two powerhouses next to me. But this is going to be an extra special show. We'll start with Nawaz first. Nawaz, you're from a pedigreed background, so to speak. I mean, I was listening to you the other day when we were on the other show, and you said so many of your family is from law. You have studied law, and then you moved into a world of fitness when there was no world of fitness in Mumbai. How did that move happen? Did something happen to you personally? How did you get interested in fitness from law?
So, at the age of 21, when I was at the crossroads of life, and you just come out of college and you're wondering, what am I going to do with my life next? Law was the most obvious choice. And I did graduate, as you said, but decided right from the get-go that I was never interested in actually getting into the line.
Okay.
It was a male-dominated line, and I didn't want it. It was just not. I was not.
But you graduated in law.
I did. My next choice was fitness, which is then eventually what I ended up doing. As you said, when there was no fitness around, there was just that one basic bare talwarkars around.
Talwarkars, I remember that. We all started there.
Nothing else. Yeah, nothing else. Then I wanted to get into the mind space, which I was talking to Aditi about earlier. Right. Therapy, etc. And it's something I never did, but always it touched my life in one way or the other. And eventually I wanted to get into writing, which also I didn't do, but I've always been writing. I've written a book more recently, and I've been writing for every publication around the place, online, offline, etc. And I decided eventually to get into fitness for the simple reason that But many things came together. I ended up being my own boss, which was important to me.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to be subject to anybody else's whims and fancies. I wanted to do something which was not available. I wanted to bring things into India. I wanted to curate and bring things into India and be a pioneer in the fitness arena, which is what I've been doing all these years, and do something very creative. So that's how it all came together. And I was extremely lazy.
Lazy.
That somehow
That
doesn't
does
go
ring
with,
true.
Yeah.
I
Were you
know
into fitness before you got into professional fitness?
I did, and that's when I realized how lazy I was, how small, petite, weak I was.
Oh, wow.
You know, at my school time, my PE teacher would look at me, and you know, all these kids would line up to do a somersault in turn or a cartwheel in turn or whatever it was. When it came to my turn, he'd look at me, roll his eyes up in his head and say, just please go ahead, just don't. And, you know, I realized that if I didn't make it my job, if I didn't have to do it,
Right,
I
you would
would
never
not
do
do
it.
it.
Oh.
So that was a big motivator. They say that what you need to learn, you tend to teach.
Okay.
So that's how it came together.
So that's how you started when nobody else was into fitness. And I remember very distinctly, in those days, the only name you heard in fitness other than Talwalkar's was Nawaz.
Yeah.
Well done to get where you got. You have something amazingly in common with each other. She did law and went into fitness.
Yeah.
You became a doctor, you finished your education, she pursued a career, and then you decided to get into modeling and acting after studying.
Forever.
It's unbelievable. You know, medicine is something that you have to keep studying and studying and studying. And by the time you've almost started a career, you're still studying.
Yes, absolutely.
How did that move happen? What prompted you to get into beauty? And of course, you're gorgeous. But how did you?
Well, I think, you know, like they say, right, that when you're busy leading your life, God has some other plans.
Plans for you.
That's,
True, I
that's
totally
exactly
agree
what
with you.
happened. I wanted to be a gynac. I even got admission in MD Gynac in JJ Hospital.
Oh.
But I love challenges, and I had never worn heels at that time. I'd never worn makeup. A friend of mine wanted to model, and she
Right.
said, "Come along with."
Who's
me."
this friend? Do we know?
Her name is Sonali.
Okay.
She did not pursue modeling. I landed up doing that. And I went with her, and the lady who was sitting across, she said, "Why don't you also try?" And I'm like, "You're
नहीं,
joking, right?"
मैं doctor हूँ।
हाँ, मतलब मुझे कोई interest नहीं है. So that was that. But that seed was planted. And then I was just walking across somewhere, and I saw this hoarding of Gladrax supermodel pageant. So I said, "चलो देखते हैं क्या होता है." So I participated in that. I won that. And then the next day, a lot of ad films, acting jobs came my way. Sangeeta Chopra, who was
Right, of
choreographer
course.
for Gladrax, she started giving me a lot of shows, fashion shows, and that's how the journey started. At that time, I was still doing my medicine.
Okay.
But there came a point where, because both the fields need 100%.
Absolutely. And
where I had to
medicine, my
choose.
gosh, it takes the mickey out of you.
It was very difficult. I did my internship in the meanwhile. I got my MD Gynac. I tried to do both, but at one point I was like, no, I'm going to get a nervous breakdown if I
Right.
don't choose. I can't.
I have to use my medical knowledge on myself.
yeah, absolutely.
क्या पढ़ाई
So-
कर रही थी? कौन सी फील्ड में पढ़ाई कर रही थी?
Gynac.
Gynac.
So I was delivering babies in the night. Most babies,
Wow.
as you know,
Yeah.
decide to, you know,
Okay,
come on this
come,
planet
yeah.
at night. And then daytime I used to go and shoot and come back and do my award work. So it just became a very messy situation.
Wow.
So I said, okay, for a year, I'll take a break. I'll do modeling and acting and come back. But I never went back to
Okay.
MD Gynac. But
So
I
what
did
did
psychology.
you finish? You did psychology post that?
That was that was now. That
That's
was
now.
about 8 years back. That I felt like my grey cells were dying and I needed to do something
Right.
to
Yeah,
intellectually
just modeling can do that.
stimulate.
Yeah, I mustn't say that
it's a
we're all
waiting
actors
game,
and models,
I mean,
but
you know.
yeah.
And all that is a shelf life, right?
Yeah.
So very
No, it
limited.
does. No, but what's commendable is you did go back and you finished
Yes.
your. So what did you study now?
So I did my post-graduation in counseling from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. I
Okay.
did first masters with IGNU, and then I did my second masters in psychology from Harvard. So I got my
Wow.
degree last year. So
Wow.
Continuing on
Superb,
that.
yeah, that's
amazing.
outstanding. You know, at this age and stage to go back, it's a kind
I'm
of
going to
going back to
challenge
school.
that. Like
There's no
I
age and
always
stage.
have this issue with people when they say that at this age you're studying, and I'm like,
Not age,
where is
age.
it?
I meant
Or
stage.
Or
That, you know, when
stage.
you've got-
Why do we have this
Right.
concept that at a certain age or stage you should stop studying. I feel learning should be lifelong.
True.
I feel
Absolutely.
everybody should
Agreed.
upgrade themselves in whichever manner. No, but I mean, I'm
And
not
the
saying go
moment
to
you
college.
stop learning lifelong, you're pretty much dead, right?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
end of
That's
life.
why a lot of dementias happen. That's why a lot of issues are happening. Whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety.
But it's still a
because we are
challenge, Aditi. You must admit that you were
But
able
nothing
to
in
do
life
that.
is easy.
It becomes so easy when you do it online now. You don't even have to actually get out of your skin and say, "Oh my God, I'm the oldest person in the class," or "How will I go back?" Or "I'm not going to
Did you do
stay
online
on
or you went
campus."
It was a
physically?
hybrid program, so
Hybrid
I went
program.
and stayed there, which was amazing.
Right.
But I also had to do some program because the COVID also happened.
Correct.
So we had, and we had like a 180-year-old was part of one of the modules that I did.
Oh, amazing.
wow.
So
Amazing.
it was awesome.
Excellent. Well done.
Yeah.
Coming back to you.
Are
in
you
the-
sure she didn't come back for free therapy? You mistook us.
So when I saw Nawaz for the first time several years back, obviously everybody had a huge crush on her, and she didn't know who I was. I was just starting
Where did
off.
I see you?
You didn't see me. I saw you.
Okay.
You saw me last a couple of evenings back on the show, and we were like, so women like you didn't exist. For us, you were part of the stratosphere or magazines where you
Wow.
just look up. I'm being
Yeah.
honest
Yeah.
that you're on my show.
Yeah.
It's not to make you feel good. Anyway, going back to that era or stage, you started from the hallway of your family house.
Yes,
Is that true?
I did. And the whole room of my family home. And in the meantime, my first studio was being done up, set
And
up.
you used to do personal training, or-
also, but no, I had group classes.
group classes.
And we then from the ground floor of the same building, I expanded from one room studio into a Pilates studio, the first in the country,
The first
into
in the
a
country.
gym, into aerial yoga, hammock training, 360-degree training, anti-gravity, etc. And then one center grew into another, and then different facilities, and moved into another. It kind of
And you
adds
trained
up.
only women, is that right?
No, women tended to come to us more than men, and that's still the case. But no, we have enough men as well.
Why do you think that?
I don't know why women think they need to try harder than men in the looks department.
No, why do women come more to you, not the men? Men are in the gym, I think 24/7. They need to
Yeah.
go to school and college.
I think men believe in weight training and
Weight training
They
a
don't
lot.
give
We
as much
have
importance.
gyms
You
as
do
well.
weight training as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not our USP. So it's really more. Many of the firsts have been pioneered by me. Pilates, equipment-based, gyrotonics, aqua aerobics, slide training, just a ton of things. Mind-body workout, stress management, etc. Circuits and just all sorts of things, and including anti-gravity. So gymming was a smaller part of what we
Right.
did, not our USP really. It was an add-on because you can't offer fitness and not have gymming.
Correct.
It's unheard of. So it was really
But
one of
do
those.
you agree that strength training is a very, very important kind of training even for women?
I disagree actually because
disagree?
I disagree because once you go past a certain age, and unfortunately everyone is aging, everyone, even a newborn child is aging, okay, it only goes one way and not the
Right.
other. You need to be more and more concerned about the compounding effect of weights. So the musculoskeletal system, the skeleton, back issues, neck issues, cervical, spondylitis, so on and so forth, with weight training is an increased problem. So while you want the resistance training in, and that's really important, resistance can be in the form of bands and springs and levers and your own body weight even. You really don't want the extra added weight externally necessarily. It does you more harm than good after a certain point.
Wow.
So, yes.
Aditi, I have to ask you, do you agree with this? Or do you think?
Well, I think strength, stamina, flexibility. These are the three aspects that one needs to look at
Yep.
for anti-aging. And this is an area of interest for me, which is not only anti-aging but reverse aging. So, of course, medical science is moving very fast in this direction. And I have met a couple of people who are working, who are doing research, etc. And one of the things which play an important role in aging is muscle. the loss of muscle.
Exactly
And
what I
that-
have
No,
Yeah.
but
been...
with resistance training, you get a lot of muscle
Yeah,
work
exactly.
in.
Yes, you do, yes,
That's what
you
I
do.
With
was coming
springs,
to.
levers, body weight, bands, etc.
So what you're saying is that-
tubes, you get
In
your
whichever
own,
way.
the correct
Yeah.
way
Whichever
of doing
way
it,
you-
and not the
okay.
compounding effect of the musculoskeletal system, the skeletal system particularly, being compromised.
Sorry, you're saying?
No, so I was saying that as long as you're aware and you do it carefully and don't go overboard with anything, I think.
A lot of people have come to the show, and even off the show, obviously, when I do research for the show, they in fact insist on women doing some sort of weight training after 35, 40 to assist the skeletal system. So, which is why this comes as a revelation to me that you're
Yeah.
saying that is not important. Anyway,
Yeah,
so that's something.
The
Yeah.
distinction there is that in weight training, you're actually using weights, which compounds the effect on the skeletal system. What I'm saying is pretty much the same thing, that you need to have your muscles in order, you need to make sure that you get your toning,
Right.
tightening, etc. in, but correctly, through other methodologies, not by
Right.
compounding the effect on the skeletal system.
Okay. And you, of course, beauty with brains. And now that you studied psychology, what I want to know is, do you think that your training as a doctor and in the medical field has helped you become prettier inside and out? And does that help other people too?
Well, I definitely hope so. That's for the others to say, not me saying that, yeah, I'm this and that. However, what is important is, we'll talk about Marvelous Mrs. India, which is...
I would like to
Yeah,
talk about
yeah,
that too, yeah.
So there, the hashtag is beauty inside out, and we give 50% weightage to beauty inside and outside as well. So it has to be both together. And Rohit, you must have experienced it, and so must you. When you enter a room and you see a beautiful person, and if the person is not a good human being,
Yeah, then it's a...
maybe in 2 or 3
Yeah.
sentences or even before, you sense it, and you then say that, oh, this person is not as pretty or as beautiful as I thought
Absolutely
this person
agree.
was. So ultimately, what is within you shows on your face, and unfortunately, as you age, life will tell a story on your face, right? So if you work towards lightness of being, if you work towards having pure thoughts, and it all starts with thoughts, you know that after doing Vipassana, right? It reflects in your aura, in your personality. So even if you do hundreds of surgeries, or you do Botox or fillers or whatever it is that you want to
whatever
do
you're
externally, or wear makeup, if you're not a good soul, if you're not a good human being, it will reflect.
Show on your face.
So that's why I give equal importance to both, and that does not mean that live shabbily or don't look
No,
after
of course
your,
not. Of course not.
your
Like she
body
said, you
and
balance
your-
everything
Yeah,
out in terms of
that is
training.
very
You have to.
crucial.
I would say that I would give 70% to your inner beauty and 30% to your outward beauty, because I feel quite like you said, it just reflects on your face. You
It
just look
does.
happier and a more positive
Yeah.
person. I feel today's day and date, there's so much of weightage given to external appearances
Yeah.
that somehow we're not working on our insides. We'll talk about Vipassana very shortly.
Yes.
Nawaz, so you write blogs, you've written articles. Do you only write about fitness, the external part of fitness, also about mindfulness and mental health and mental positivity and all of that?
Very much all of that, and then...
Can you
a
tell
whole
us what
heap
your book
more.
is about?
My book is about what Aditi was talking about right now, anti-aging.
Oh.
But anti-aging the natural way.
Okay.
As far as is possible. And that's to do with aging of all sorts. So it's obviously physical. It's obviously to do with the physical exercises, even in terms of anti-aging issues with the face. So whether you have whatever your facial issues might be, crow's feet, laugh lines.
Which is going to come.
Yeah, double chin, furrows in the brow, whatever it is. Single exercise, how can you quickly reverse that? When it comes to the body, calynetics, so you anti-aging in terms of the body.
What is that again?
Calynetics is
Okay.
a methodology of working out where you're actually it's northward bound exercise. So you're actually lifting, resculpting, reshaping, mental aging, hair aging, skin aging, spiritual aging.
That can all happen naturally and
Psychological
organically
aging,
without
everything,
medical
yes,
help?
Yes. Simple things, very do-it-yourself here and now things depending on what you need out here. So it's a book. Nutrition has a lot to do with it. There's so many things out there that we
What's your book called?
It's called Pause, Rewind.
Pause, Rewind. I'm going to be reading this today. You guys should also get
You
it.
bet.
I will send you a copy.
You guys are actually quite similar in that way. Both your holistic and spiritual mindset seems to be similar. Have you read a book?
No, not yet.
So you
but
have to send us
I'll
two books.
send you a copy too.
Making sure. The other responsibility that both
But
of
I
you.
would like to add you in our group as well, because you fit the bill. I know, I mean, for people who don't know, we've bumped once at Vipassana. And I was like, my God, is that who I think? Okay, yeah, it is.
Yeah, you know, the first time we were going to talk about it in great detail, but the first time I decided to go to Vipassana, all my friends were like, are you mad? You won't survive that for 2 days because Aryamon, you know about Aryamon, right? You can't, 10 days you don't talk, but you don't even communicate. Like I can't look at you because I'm communicating right now. So you don't look at each other also. So for 10 days we didn't know we were there.
Yeah.
But we are going to talk in detail about, meditation in any form. Currently there's another thing which I've realized both of you have in common, your mothers.
Yes.
So I'll start with a question for you. Of course, you're very nicely handling the pressures of being an entrepreneur and a fitness guru and all of that, and a writer. How do you handle the pressure, the greatest pressure of being a mother? Because that's a 24/7 job. And this question is for the people who are out there, who are young mothers, who have professions, but they still have to take care of the children.
So I had a great role model in my father, who was
In your father?
in
Lovely.
my father, who was an absolutely outstanding parent of the year award. Really,
How lovely,
to
how
him.
lovely. I wish someday my daughter says that about me. That's
She
the
will, for
biggest.
sure.
That will be the biggest
award.
accolade you will ever
Absolutely,
wear.
yeah.
So I think I imbibed that through the process of osmosis. They say that don't worry about the fact that your children don't listen to what you tell them,
Of course.
but
They
worry
don't.
greatly.
They don't.
Worry greatly that they watch everything that you're doing very
Yes,
closely.
yes.
So my father really lived it. He really, walked the talk, and I think I've imbibed a lot naturally from him. To me, being a parent, being a mother, comes above and beyond everything else. And I think it's a very hard job because they say that you can at best just be an average parent. Though I've given my father, everything and beyond. I've given him the Olympic gold in that.
Right.
Still,
How do you rate yourself as a parent?
I think that would be more a question for my children than me,
So,
right?
yeah, we must
I
call
don't
them
think
on
I'm
the next.
the right one to rate me.
They
Yeah.
should be here next.
Correct. They'd have a different answer if I'm in the room and a different one if I'm
Well, if you're
outside.
not, yeah. True.
Yeah.
But I've always felt that parenting is it's like a thumbprint. It's everyone's different, right?
Absolutely.
All our kids are different. You also have a wonderful boy and wonderful girl.
Yes.
What are the value systems that you'd like for them to have in their repertoire?
So I think first and foremost, at the cost of sounding cliched, a good human being. I think that's
Yes, of course.
very important, because at the end of the day, you can say, yeah, be an achiever, do this, do that. But if you're not a good human being, what's the point of
Everything
it all?
else is useless.
Right?
Yeah, true.
And self-care. I think that is something that every parent needs to teach the child, because what happens is in society, a lot of importance is given to sacrifice, especially where women are concerned. Right? Even today.
There is a
like,
question following this.
So I think it's important for people to realize that jaan hai to jahan hai. If you look after yourself, if you are healthy, if you're in good mind space, everything else falls in place. And the third very crucial thing is confidence. I think giving them that, they can really take on the world. Then it doesn't matter what they do, how successful they are, but if they are confident that self-belief is there, then that's it. Like a very quick short story. My little boy, when he was like really little, he must be 4, I used to give him the choice of wearing his own clothes. So the decision making was his. Because I had divided it into 3 parts. One is non-negotiable. What I say goes because I am the parent. The second one, you can negotiate with me, whether it is homework time or whether it's going for an outing or whatever. And the third thing is yours to do. I will not interfere in that.
Excellent.
So clothing was his to do. And he would choose colors. He would wear a green trousers with pink shirt, and he had all possible. Somehow he had gotten to that phase, and I would let him. So one day he came crying to me saying that, Mama, everybody's laughing at me because of the colors I'm wearing. So I said, I just looked at him. I've always spoke to them at their level. So that is one very important tip for the young parents, that go down to their level to speak to them. I said, it is your choice. whatever choice you make, people will have something to say. So just because tomorrow you decide to wear black on black or white with black or whatever, do you think you're going to keep everybody happy? Does that make you happy? So you choose whatever you want to wear. If
You gave him responsibility at a very young age. Wow.
Yeah. But there are some which were non-negotiable. So
Like what? So give us an example.
For example, study time. I mean, that was non-negotiable.
You have
right?
to.
You have to. So homework you have to finish before you get onto a screen or whatever. Screen time was negotiable.
Did you impress upon them the kind of studies they should do? Like you're a doctor, a psychologist. You never told them to.
My son faints at the sight of blood. Like, what do you do now? I mean, a child of two doctors, but no.
Now, since we're talking about one son and you have two daughters. So this question I'll have to ask you: was your upbringing styles different when it came to the daughter and the son?
No, and I think that comes from the fact that my brother is a chef, I'm a doctor, and my sister is an engineer.
Wow.
So my mother used to laugh, and she's like, my son is going to cook, and my daughter and
Yeah,
daughters are
he's
going
an
to be doctor,
engineer,
engineer. So it came from there, wherein we were given the choice to choose whatever we wanted to do. But given the social conditioning now, it's very crucial that I impress upon my son the respect that he has to give to the girl in his life.
Absolutely.
Women, girlfriends, girlfriend.
But when we hear about beti padhao, beti badhao, I always say please teach your kids. बेटे को पढ़ाओ पहले ठीक से कि औरतों को कैसे treat किया जाता है. Because I feel I'm not the right person to say this, but I just feel the youngsters today somehow don't know how to treat a woman with the kind of respect that our parents taught us to do. I don't know why. Maybe they're a little irreverent or a little casual about it. Maybe it's the changing times.
It's a fast food life, right?
It's the
now.
fast
food,
maybe,
fast life, fast everything.
Yeah.
Instant gratification. So it's a deeper conversation, maybe.
We'll have to have another episode about it.
Yeah.
So, Nawaz, coming back to you, you're also into mindfulness. It's not that you're only teaching Pilates or strength training or resistance training. You also believe in the power of the mind. I would love to know, and the audiences would love to know, what is the simple things that one can adapt in daily life to maintain a healthy mental and physical balance?
So there are so many things. Just having, firstly, exercise itself releases so many happy hormones.
Right.
Makes you so positive, and that's really important. There are so many mental hacks. I mean, if you feel like,
well, let's say, what does Nawaz do on a daily basis? What stuff does she adopt to be mentally happy and strong, in spite of all that goes on in our lives?
So the corny one about gratitude.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
On a daily basis, when I pray, invariably I'm told 30 things that you're grateful for today. Now, name them. Right? And you become a magnet for whatever it is that you exude. So if you're thinking about all the things that you're grateful for, you'll get a lot more to be grateful about. It's a great exercise. There are so many things that after I finish my list of 30, invariably I'll find that the most important things I didn't give gratitude to. Guilt to do with that. If one is concerned in older ages, like Aditi was talking about, dementia, etc., and you're a little concerned about how does one fend that off, or an older adult. Simple exercises in my book decodes those as well. Think of 20 phone numbers of people here and now, despite the age of the mobile, okay? Think of 30 birthdays of people here and now, right? Think of it's things of that sort, really. It could be other things. Pair things up.
That's got to do with mental alacrity. What I'm asking you is that in the given situation that all of us find at some point in our life, how do you stay above it and stay happy? Like, I have my take on it. I just want to know that, given the fact that you're from that, other than exercise.
Yeah, so I think whether it's engaging in hobbies, whether it's time out with friends, just time out doing what you want, what you like, being in nature, taking your little breaks, your holidays, your etc., etc. Pick up the odd book, pick up the odd I don't know, I picked up my badminton racket of late and I've started relearning with my old school friends.
Nice.
Pick up on a game. I'm starting to learn bridge soon
Okay.
enough.
So
It's
something
it's
that
great
challenges
mental
your mind.
activity. Yeah, and keeps you, you know, occupied in those senses. Have a lot to do with wellness,
Right.
mental wellness.
So you're a psychologist. So I have to ask you this question. I mean, what is it that you do, and what is it that you could tell? Okay, someone like me, who's, you know me pretty well by now. I'm mostly happy, but of course I have my days. What do I do, or what do our young ones do to stay above the drudgery of it all? You know, some people, even though they're doing well, you realize that they're not very happy. How do you feel content with what you have?
First and foremost, screen addiction is on a rise, and I think we all probably are guilty as charged, right? What screen is doing to our brains, nobody is talking about it, and a lot of theories or even research has been done which is suppressed. Be very wary of how much time you're giving to the screen, because everybody knows now the fact that our attention span has gone down from 12 seconds to 8 seconds.
My
To
gosh.
now it's reducing, which is lesser than a goldfish, which is something that we definitely...
Lesser than a goldfish.
Yeah, it is. It
Coming
is.
to an orange.
Oh my
Yeah, and
God.
when young mothers proudly say that my son or my daughter at 1 can swipe iPad, I'm like, that's
Oh
not
God,
something
that's
that
not
you
something to
should
be proud of. Yeah.
You're doing a lot more damage. So when we were growing up, we were more earthy or connected to earth than the new age kids are. Sorry, I'm digressing a little
No,
bit.
good. We talk about everything there
What
is to talk about when
yeah.
it comes
So
to mindfulness.
what does contentness or what does happiness mean to you? That is important. So to take a step back from that is introspect. Every single day, if you introspect away from your screen and away from your phone and whatever that you're doing, you give 5 to 10 minutes to just figure out. That will give you a sense of what it means to you, because it is a very, very, like your thumbprint, right? It's very individualistic, what
True.
happiness means to you and what it means to me and what it means to her. So very important to begin with, what is it that gives you that joy, and then you find answers and work towards that. But it is a process which needs to be done every day.
Every
It
single
can't
day?
be every single day.
So, is it something like journaling?
Well, journaling is a form of writing, right? I mean, when
Right. So you journal your thoughts and
yeah,
all of that.
that's one way of doing it, but today that art is lost, unfortunately.
But would you recommend it?
Of course, journaling is a beautiful thing that you can.
A lot
Even
of
if you
people
write
have
one
told me.
page, that really helps.
Have you ever done it yourself,
Yeah, of course.
Nawaz?
I do it every day.
You do it every day?
Yeah.
It's
Since
a
both
very
of you are
good-
writers also. So I'm going. In fact, somebody was on the show a couple of weeks back, and I promised her that I'll start. I'm not, but I am going to start because I've heard so much about journaling, and that's something I have zero experience in.
But it's okay, don't be hard on yourself, because if you're doing Vipassana or if you're doing any kind of meditation, so find your thing to do. Don't
Yeah.
get like, okay, someone has said journaling.
It works for them.
Because it's like meditation, there are thousands of
Right.
meditation techniques.
Vipassana is my form of journaling.
Exactly.
Because
So
that's when
if
my
that
mind is
is-
clear. It's not, the only thing I'm not doing is writing it out.
Right.
But I want to try it out to
You
see.
can.
Yeah, to see
But
how
don't
it
feel
works.
guilty or don't
Yeah.
like put pressure on yourself.
Okay,
at all.
done.
So the problem with keeping a diary, as my father used to say, that if you keep a diary, the problem is that one day it's going to keep you,
Yeah.
which means that you will forget that you have that diary, and somebody or the other who's not supposed to find it will find
We'll
it.
find it for sure.
Right.
And they always do.
It could be your wife, it could be your children, it could be whoever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Whoever, yeah.
And you won't be around to explain yourself, and that's going to be a lot of damage.
Okay,
Invariably.
Yeah, but that's true. It will be found.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do is I tear it. I just
Just
tear
burn- oh,
whatever.
you write it and
I
then
don't
tear
burn
it.
it because I'm a little environment friendly.
Okay.
So I reuse
Why would
the
you
paper
wait to
and-
tear it?
Because I don't
Want
like
it to
you
be
said,
found.
it's
If I'm
the-
not there to
yeah,
explain
I mean,
it.
see,
I
because
keep
what
it, I
happens
keep
is-
it for a while, but thereafter, yeah.
No, because it's always out of context that people can
Of course.
deduct.
They will never get
to
your
some-
context.
Yeah, they will not
and you're doing it
understand
for
where
yourself.
you're coming
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
and then it can.
So
lead to a
you
lot
don't
of
like
damage.
journal so that you can go back to it at some point in life
No,
and
I
see
don't.
it, that's not the thing.
I do. I go
That's-
back to
yeah,
it constantly.
That's another thing I
Yeah.
want to ask. So,
Of course, that's why I journal.
That's
So
why
I
you
do it
do.
go back.
sporadically. Yeah, I do it sporadically when I need things to get out of my system.
Okay.
And that's why I just tear it and chuck it.
And when you go back to it, how does it help or not help you?
We tend to forget, right? So it's more of an aid to memoir than anything else, an aid to the memory than anything else. Especially if things are difficult or too much is going on, The memory wants to forget to protect you, and you want to remember to protect you.
Oh. Okay. Maybe after the episode we're going to discuss this further. Let's go on to nutrition, because that's a very important parallel on Unstoppable.
Yeah.
You can work out as much as you want,
Yes.
but if your nutrition, your diet is not correct, there is no point. You agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on nutrition?
50-50 on diet and exercise. In fact,
50-50 you
more
say?
like even 70-30.
70, okay.
Yeah, I
Nah,
think that's-
70-30.
that
I
is-
agree.
yeah.
Because you eat
I didn't want to keep disagreeing with
times.
of everything.
No, because you eat like 6 times a day, and maybe you work out once every day at best, even at that.
Yeah. So 70-30. What are your mantra about nutrition? Like a simple take on nutrition. What does your plate look like?
Third each, protein, healthy starch, and your vegetables.
Okay. And you
third
don't believe
each,
in all
lots of
these
colour.
fads that you say on Instagram?
Very important also. The healthy fats, the salmon. And
No,
the
fads.
Fads. No, the fact
Every
that it's
day
even-
I'm
Yeah,
spending
you
time
do.
on Instagram. I have spinach juice in the morning. You'll lose all your weight from your belly. Doesn't work?
So the reason it's even called a fad is because it doesn't work, right?
It doesn't
If it was going to work, it wouldn't be a fad. It wouldn't pass on. You'd be doing it all your life,
Right.
start to finish.
Hard work works.
So balance works, not hard work. Hard work doesn't work. Hard work burns you out. Balance works. So even in terms of any problems that you might have in life, and you're wondering, what do I do? And I'm not talking of physical, nutritional. I'm just talking of any issues that you have in life. Most often you'll find that the correct answer is the central path, the balanced approach. Don't go get extreme here or there. Walk
You've
the
studied
middle
in
path.
nutrition yourself, right? A little bit
No,
of
I
that.
haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
So I've been watching your videos that you keep talking about, so much about nutrition. So that's
Because, again,
self-taught.
Yeah, no, because that's part of, again, anti-aging and reverse aging, which is a deep area of interest for me. And nutrition, of course, plays a big role, because like I say that you are what you eat and you are what you think. So two very important components.
You are what you eat and you're what you think.
Yes, yes. So you have to feed your cells. You have to feed that mitochondria, so which is the energy powerhouse of you. So that's the interest in nutrition. So I don't have a official degree, but
Right.
yeah,
But
self-taught.
I've seen so many of your videos, and most of them are so informative.
Yeah.
And when it's coming from a doctor, that it's dependable. Okay, now coming to a part of life which has got to do with stress. Both of you have gone through long-term marriages, and both of you have gone through.
The D word.
Let's just say that. Let's talk about it. The divorce.
No, I
just-
haven't.
Not yet. You're in the process of whatever separation. You've
Yeah.
gone through the D word, divorce word, and it's not a bad word at all.
No, not
I personally feel that if a relationship is not working, it's better to kind of make a move and go on. Let's start with you, because yours has been in the news recently for a lot of reasons, a lot of discussions around what you went through. What would you like to tell our audiences who don't know the truth really? And whatever you can say.
Actually, nothing at all. I'll pass and I'll let Aditi talk about her
Well,
situation.
for me, it feels like a different lifetime. So again, I don't want to give it energy, because if I
Right.
talk about it, then I'm giving it energy, and that part of my life is over.
Right.
So I'm doing.
But you
so
made the right
many-
choice of deciding for
I
it.
think life made that choice for me, and I accept it now. It's fine. At that time, it was a very, very difficult time, because my son was a preterm baby. So a lot of issues at that time, but it's all over and done with now.
Right.
He's a handsome young man, and I have
Yeah, of
moved on
course.
in life, and I've got my degrees, and so it's fine.
You've done well
It's a learning
since then.
lesson.
Yes. So now, as a different kind of a question, when you have to deal with, say, any struggle in life, and Unstoppable deals not only with the physical bit, it deals also with the mental bit, because see, increasingly the younger kids are very, very stressed about something or the other. You hear about anxiety attacks and panic attacks and this trauma and mental trauma. How do you deal? How do you steel yourself when it comes to that kind of a situation in life, whatever the situation might be?
So I think the world that we live in right now is a really difficult world to bring up children in. I think to be a child in this world is, oh my God, it's Herculean, the task. It's not like when we were that much younger and there wasn't anything around. The opportunity was great. There was no social media. There was no mobile phone, and you lived a very simple life and a very privileged life. Now everyone seems to have everything.
Yeah.
And everyone's so commonplace, therefore there is no, relative. Up and down, I mean. And I think going back to basics and keeping in step with one's child in the inner arena rather than the outer is so much more important. We don't live in the physical world, really. I'm not sitting here in, Rohit Roy's studio doing this show right now. We don't live in, I'm not in Andheri and in Bombay and blah, blah, blah. We really only live in our heads and our hearts. There's nowhere else that we actually live. And if one can learn to live in their child's head and heart, you're much more in tune, much more in sync with what's really going on and can help. I've had people, whose kids who've just committed suicide, who've walked out into the balcony of their 36th floor apartment in front of their parents and walked off the edge and just killed themselves. And 13, 14-year-old children. And parents are devastated, obviously, for life.
Completely.
And they're like, but my child was so well adjusted. But what went wrong? Everything was fine. There was no issue. Do you know what happened in their mobile phone? Do you know what happened in their head and their heart? No. Are they going to talk about it? No. But if that boy's best friend took off with his girlfriend, do you know that? You don't know that. He's walked and he never stopped walking and life has come to an end. What are you going to do about that? You can't reverse it. So I think it's really important to read between the lines and see under the cover of what's actually happening rather than to take things so literally about what are my eyes and ears telling me. If that makes sense, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. How do you deal with it?
I listen to the silences.
Nice.
I watch the moods. I watch what's not said. I am around there to pick up on things that are not being communicated because those communicate more than anything else.
Wow.
And to think back and realize that your young child is also having their pains, having their heartaches, having their issues, having their moments of boredom, having their moments of being inadept, incapable, so on and so forth, panic, and their own feelings of lack and being incapacitated, etc. That tells you a lot more than the outwardly notions of bravado or putting on an act, putting on a show, or what their social media may say or not.
The social media is, I think, one of the worst things which put pressure on the kids.
Biggest killers,
Biggest
horrors. And that's where all the unraveling happens, doesn't it?
Everybody's life looks so good and so pretty.
Real life and
Yeah,
real
the
life.
real life
Very,
and
very
real life. Yeah,
different.
but that pressure is...
Absolutely.
Coming back to the last segment which we started off with, that's something that you and me have in common.
Yes.
Vipassana.
Yes.
How did you discover it? And what would you tell a person watching you right now who has no clue what meditation or Vipassana is? How did it change your life?
Well, I did my first one in 2008. So I've been doing Vipassana since then. And like I keep threatening you that we should do a 20
Yes, I know. But we have to do it, right?
Yeah, 20 days.
20
science
days,
retreat.
yeah.
That's the next on the anvil. How it changed my life was it helped me deal, and it helps me deal even today. The day-to-day pressures, forget the big
The bigger
issues,
pressures, they're
but
there.
even day-to-day there is stress, right? That you're not on time, you're late or whatever. Even those, it helps me remain grounded. It helps me stay focused on what my path is, where I want to go. In addition, whatever the baggage is of the past, it has lightened it to a
Okay.
very, very big extent. It helps me read between lines very easily when I communicate with my client or my children or my colleagues or friends. So it gives a lot of power, it gives a lot of strength, and in a good way, not in a bad way. And going forward, I think that's a form of meditation that I will continue pursuing all my life.
Was it difficult for you the first couple of days that you went?
It's still difficult.
It's
First 3 days, it's still difficult because you know.
The second day
it's
you feel
hard.
like
It's very, very
it's
hard.
very
Because
tough to get into
silence
it.
truly can be deafening.
Yeah.
And that when I used to read that statement earlier, and I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Because I am an introvert, I love my solitude. So how can silence be deafening? But when you go there and you're living with yourself, and Aryamon, and I follow rules. I'm a rule follower, so I
same
follow
here.
it
In
like
fact,
to the T.
I love following that rule.
So
Raymond.
you feel like your brain is going to explode.
In fact, I wrote to them. I mailed them saying that, the 11th day you're calling it off too early. Why calling it off so early in the day? Because again, you have to spend almost 8 hours with them and then they want to talk. And also being who we are, then they want to gravitate towards us and ask us questions. And you don't want to talk.
But you know what I do? I go back to my room. I can't.
I do that too. I do
I
that
just
too,
go
but
back
I have to
in a
come
mode
down
of
to
my
eat now.
silence.
You don't want to talk because you've been silent for so long?
Yeah,
It becomes
and
too much.
It becomes you don't feel like talking at that point because you've gained so much in those 9 days that you feel if I'm going to talk now, it's going to just take something away.
Just pass the
Have you
energy.
ever thought of going to Vipassana?
No, and this is the first time I'm hearing of it this way as well.
Nawaz, you have given me solid gyan today. I'm giving you this one thing. If you can try,
Yes, absolutely.
just
I second
go
that.
just try
Do
it
it
once. And before I went, everybody said, "Nahi yaar,
What
ye
did
nahi."
you gain personally?
Exactly what she spoke about. I mean, if you asked me the question before I asked her, this is exactly
Same
the
answer.
calm, learning how to deal with things. I used to be very irritable. I'm an Aries, I'm a child sign. You don't take my lollipop away, I'll start crying. Now you take my lollipop away, I'll wait. कि कभी ना कभी तो वापस देगी मेरे को.
अच्छा वापस
हाँ
आने की
वापस देगा,
ख्वाहिश
वापस देगा.
है.
ये नहीं देख कहीं ना कहीं से आ जाएगा.
Or maybe
what
the
I-
empty stick will come.
So my friends used to ask me, "Arey, you're so calm anyway. Why are you going? You'll become even more calmer. if
No,
you don't
that's the
want to
calm
do."
they see. They
But-
don't see the inside
Exactly.
turmoil.
So that's
Yeah.
what I said. That's everybody has baggage. Everybody has things to deal with, and day to day,
True.
how you do it. This is one way.
I'm going to
of
read
it.
your book and you're going to go to Vipassana sometime in life, whenever you're ready.
Deal,
Okay.
Nawaz.
All right.
Before we let you go, two fun things. One segment is called Ask Rohit Anything segment. Okay, it's got to do with whatever you feel like asking in the realms of whatever we are discussing. And after that, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Let's start with you first.
Okay. So truthfully, you have to
Truthfully.
answer.
In my show, yeah, I can't lie on my show, yeah.
Vipassana ki kasam. How many pairs of sneakers do you own?
Oh my God, that's got nothing to do with health or fitness, but it has to do with happiness.
health,
It
mental
has to do
health.
with mental health.
And you use your sneakers to work out in?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, no, but that's not.
I didn't know.
I don't think she's asking about those sneakers.
Don't get technical.
So I have about currently I have about 160, 65 odd sneakers. This is the new one I got. So I have got So my wife calls me the male Imelda Marcos or something like that. So yeah, but why did you ask me that question?
Because every time I see your posts or whatever, you have another pair, like a new pair, and I'm like, how many shoes
So
does this
in
guy have?
fact, the question is good, but the answer is very bad because it's a kind of an addiction. And when I want to feel good,
You buy.
then at 2 o'clock in the night, if I'm stressed about something, I will go online. And I've told myself that, this is a very small price I'm paying for my happiness.
Retail therapy.
Somebody told me very early on in life that, how some kids suck their thumb till 1, 2, and they have bad teeth and this and that. So somebody very, very close to me said, I'd rather pay to correct his thumb than to correct his mind. As you're a psychologist,
Yeah,
you probably
scary.
get it. And I looked at her and, I said, wow.
Yeah.
So retail therapy as it comes to sneakers.
So, what would you say is the one thing that is your pet peeve, which is your weakness, something you want to change? Something you do in secret?
No, I don't do it in secret, but my pet peeve or what I want to change is my impatience. I have been very impatient all my life and it's not really held me in good stead. I'm an Aryan, I think very fast. We're thinking of the same thing, but somebody has a different pace. Somebody has a different pace. That doesn't necessarily make you lesser or not as efficient as I am. You all work at your own pace, and I didn't get that at the beginning of my life and my professional career. And that's something that is still, Vipassana helped me with that. And I still grapple with that. Come on here. So now if you see, when I came to meet you, you guys were ready. Normally I would have thrown a fit. What the hell, you guys are not ready, why are you not ready, guests are here. But I went back to my room, I started reading my script because I know it's going to happen at its own pace. So impatience is something I would change. Thank you for the questions, and before we go, there are hordes of young adults watching you and sometimes even teenagers, and one of my episodes which got the maximum views was a episode about suicide, believe it or not. A very dear friend of mine came and opened up about how he attempted suicide twice. Before we go, I want both of you to give the youngsters one piece of advice to carry on, to keep going, come what may, because we'll all have struggles, so they'll see some sort of struggle, whether it's in their education or profession. What's the advice you'd like to give the youngsters out there?
At the time that you might be feeling suicidal, hold on for the next occasion. Just say, I'm just going to hold on, not do it right now and do it the next time around. you won't do it.
Just hold on.
Yeah.
You won't do it?
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. It doesn't necessarily need to be about suicide. Anything that keeps them going.
So I think communicate. Communicate with anybody. Not on phone, not on screen. I don't mean DM or I don't mean Snapchat or any new social media that is currently popular, but face to face.
Talk.
Because what I feel is this energy exchange that happens between human beings, it's a very important life force that we thrive on. Because we are keeping ourselves away from that, I would rather watch a series than go and meet my friends. I would rather play a video game rather than go and meet somebody. That is creating, and deep down that is the issue.
And they stop
has
communicating
society
well.
gone it is on a rise. Whether we want to accept it or not, it is on a rise.
It is.
Depression is on a rise, and if we don't take that step now, each one to himself or herself, and parents must inculcate that in their children, that don't be on the phone yourself and tell the child that don't be on the phone.
Communicate.
So that's very, very important.
Thank you so much for being here. It's been fantastic, really.
you. Thank
And I'm so
Thank
glad you
you.
took time out.
Thank you
All
so
the very
much.
best, Vipassana.
Yeah.
And we have to read her
Thank
book.
you. No 20 days.
हाँ वो तो करना ही है. Now you have to make the plan.
Yes.
Guys, so I'm absolutely sure that you got something out of this which is going to hold you in good stead. And till we meet next, stay healthy, stay strong, stay resilient, and be unstoppable. Lots of love, lots of blessings. Take care.